bugs, these resistant bugs, methicillin-resistant streptococcus, strep aureus, and RSA, you may see the reference to that in literature as well. These are spread by people-to-people contact, the same way you would catch a cold, the same way you would catch swine flu, which is a viral, not a bacterial infection. But these are spread by contact. So one of the big preventative measures into decreasing hospital-acquired infections in the hospital is by screening, by testing, quick tests before people are admitted to the hospital to see if they're carrying. Some people carry this germ, but they don't necessarily get the symptoms, but they can spread it to other people who are susceptible, and then they get very sick. It puts a lot of burden on the healthcare system, and it puts the person's life in jeopardy as well. So it's a lose-lose proposition for everybody around. So BD acquired a company a couple of years ago that has a very rapid screening test. So before a patient's admitted, it can be tested, and within a couple of hours you know, is this person carrying this bug, and do they need to be isolated in a way to not infect people, other people who are in there who are sick and who are going to be much more susceptible to disease. So the last business segment is BD Biosciences. BD Biosciences is focused on continually advancing the science and applications associated with cellular analysis and products that help living cells and tissues. So specifically here, a lot of cell biology expertise. Here, again, this is another business that makes big pieces of equipment, things called flow cytometers, which sort cells. They tell me that's important, so just kind of leave it at that. John Meinster is actually something called an immunologist. He might be able to explain if you want to hear about flow cytometry. But along with sorting cells and determining, and a lot of these, I mean, being on the serious side now, is for diagnosing disease or diagnosing susceptibility to certain diseases. These are research tools that are used in, that are being used very aggressively in the NIH for stem cell research right now, to be able to identify and isolate stem cells, and as well as they are the gold standard instruments to be doing CD4 counting and seeing how a patient may be doing who has HIV, and seeing how that is progressing or hopefully remaining in remission. So very important is a whole series of reagents that go along that need to be used in this business. So BD Biosciences produces these. They also have another business that produces a lot of labware that researchers will use. Some of the same people will be using the flow cytometry products, will be using in tissue culture or in their experimentation. A lot of petri dishes, and so you may remember from the college science days, plastic, disposable, and coated surfaces for various applications. So here, this business mainly attracts or focuses on the life science researchers, both in the government as well as in the pharmaceutical and biotechnology companies. So, oops, that's a flow cytometer. Is there one there? Yeah. So these some products here don't have. Like I say, the disposables are going to be reagents, a lot of antibodies to various cells, so we can identify them when we're sorting them using antibody separation technique, or to mark them and to sort them based upon those markers. So growth in this business is going to come from increasing to broaden that instrument platform, or broader reagent lines, and moving into clinical diagnostics, using this tool of flow cytometry to be able to broaden it to other applications, because it's a very specific type of way to sort cells that better than anything else that's out there. So before I get to that, so let me tell you a little bit. So that's BD from the businesses, the three main businesses. So I didn't know where to put these slides. Do I put them up front? Do I put them later on in the middle and stuff like that? But one of the things is, I mean, BD has been on the forefront of a lot of medical first, a lot of healthcare first in the United States and worldwide. And I was going through some of the archives, the presentations, and if we had a lot more time, there was a lot of great pictures all in there, but I don't think we have time for 150 slides or so. But there's some great pictures of, you know, looking at the first commercially produced syringes and things like that. But as you can see, you know, a list of firsts that BD was on board. And how did we get to those first? Well, I have some other slides here to show you that. But we've been pretty good at identifying healthcare needs early on and coming up with solutions for them. And that's what we continue to try and strive to do. Again, some additional, you know, firsts for us, as well as significant product market introductions. In 2001, we invented, actually right down the road here, BD Technologies, SDA, strand displacement amplification, which was an alternative to PCR, which is a widely used method for diagnostic technique. We have a competing technology which is now sold in the market, mainly used on the panel for sexually transmitted diseases. And most recently, and I'll talk about some of the acquisitions, the acquisition of Genome in 2006, which was a company that had that platform for looking at hospital-acquired infections. So we've been on the forefront. I mean, we have a rich history, a lot of good things, and a lot of these things have been developed right down the road. But actually, if I look back here, and look at the intradermal and intranasal delivery platforms, a lot of those drug delivery technologies were developed right down the road here at BD Technologies and then moved into the business for commercialization. So we don't make products there, we make the technologies and then hopefully align with our business needs, and then they turn them into the products. They have the manufacturing facilities and then the distribution capabilities. So how have we been doing as a company? I mean, actually, we've been doing pretty well. I mean, we've continued to show growth on both the top line and the bottom line over the last 10 years. And as you can see, the R&D spending across the company has increased concurrently with those increases in growth. Our CEO is very committed to continue to see growth of our R&D expense line, to be able to put more into that, create higher value technologies that will generate higher value products for our businesses. I mean, serve the need, and the market will take care of itself. The business will take care of itself. So that line has been growing, and that represents R&D across the company, both in our corporate office here in RTP, as well as across the board with our businesses. So, just comparing, how we compare to some of the competition, as I mentioned, it's not really one company that competes with us in all segments. There's numbers of different companies that compete with us in various parts. And this slide is a little bit dated. It was produced last year, so the numbers have not been updated. But there's only a few of these companies that really have comparable broad-based platforms. Companies like Baxter and Covidien, which would have pretty broad-based platforms, whereas Roche is mainly diagnostics. Philips Medical Systems is going to be hospital equipment, capital equipment, imaging, things like that. Same thing with Siemens. So this is the big players in med-tech. They're quite large, and you can see the interesting thing is their R&D as a percent of sales is kind of all over the place. The typical pharmaceutical company spends about 15% on R&D. BD, we're about 5%.